Okay, what's good, everyone? It's Nigel here, Trinidad Empowerment Network. So, Donald Trump, Donald Trump once said that I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and still have people vote for me. I could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and still have people vote for me. I want you to remember that phrase. So, have you noticed a disturbing pattern emerging in Trinidad and Tobago? In Trinidad and Tobago's foreign policy. At the very moment when Caribbean leaders are flying to Africa to reconnect with shared ancestry and forge new partnerships, our Prime Minister is MIA. Our Prime Minister is MIA, missing in action. And instead of building bridges with Africa, she's aligning herself with Donald Trump's right-wing war agenda. This is unprecedented. What's happening in Trinidad now is unprecedented. We are into the weirdest era, the strangest era, things that would be written in history. We are living through it right now. So this past week, the second Africa-Caricom Summit took place in Ethiopia. Leaders from across the Caribbean attended, of course. Barbados, Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Grenada, Antigua and Bermuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the Bahamas. The leaders of these countries, of these Caribbean islands, all attended the Africa-Caribbean Summit. They described the summit as a homecoming. That makes me feel good. They described the summit as a homecoming, a moment to reconnect Africa and the Caribbean, a moment to make stronger our economy, a moment to make stronger our cultural ties, our political ties, a chance to diversify our economies away from the over-dependence on oil and gas. A chance to build trade with a continent of approximately 1.4 billion people. A chance to make stronger our ancestral bond that colonialism once destroyed. So I ask you this simple question. 10 viewers. Where was the Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister? Why was the Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister absent? She sent a delegation instead. When the heads of government meet, you send your head of government. Anything less is a diplomatic snub. And I'm certain this is what the African-Caribbean Summit saw this as. This is what we are now in Trinidad. This is who we are in Trinidad. We are repeatedly isolating ourselves and aligning ourselves with the far right. And this is not an isolated incident, by the way. Because if you can remember recently, our Prime Minister also failed to attend a CARICOM meeting, again, leaving us absent from the table. I don't know if you remember the most recent CARICOM meeting where she also failed to show up. There's a pattern here. There is a pattern here. So when America launched a controversial strike on Venezuela, killing 11 people in international waters, a war crime with no legal justification, a war crime, did our Prime Minister consult CARICOM before siding with the United States? Did our Prime Minister consult CARICOM before siding with the United States? Again, the answer, as you know, is no. There's a pattern here. The pattern is building. Instead, what did she do? She publicly supported Donald Trump's action, even using chilling language that the US military should kill them all violently. The US military should kill them all violently. Kill first, ask question never. That is not diplomacy. That is not statesmanship. This is dangerous. We are dangerously aligning ourselves with a foreign agenda. Dangerously. So I'm going to digress slightly here. Far-right ideology. Far-right ideology. Now, some of you may be asking, what exactly do we mean by far-right politics, and why should Trinidad care? It's probably not a common phrase in the Caribbean. It's not a common phrase. It's more used in America, Europe, etc. But today I'm going to break down what far-right ideology is. And it's built on a few dangerous, extremely dangerous pillars. Number one being authoritarianism. Strong leaders using force and fear, not consultation or cooperation. Force and fear, authoritarianism. Number one. Number two, militarism. Militarism, solving problems through violence. Solving problem through violence, not diplomacy. Never diplomacy. Number three is nationalism, putting one group above all others, often to the exclusion of minorities. Number four, anti-black and anti-immigrant sentiment. Anti-black and anti-immigrant sentiment. In the US and in Europe, far-right movements openly attack black people, openly attack brown people, immigrants, and anyone who doesn't fit their narrow definition of pure citizens. Now, this is not just theory. It's a reality. It is reality. In the United States, the far right openly fuels racist policies, suppressing black voters, attacking affirmative action, and rolling back protection for minorities. We see all of this at play right now in the United States under Donald Trump. So I want you to imagine now this ideology creeping into Trinidad and Tobago, a country built on African, Indian, indigenous, Chinese, and even Syrian heritage. A country where the majority population is Afro-Trinidadian. It simply goes against everything we are. It is anti-Trinidadian by design and at its core. So, let me be clear. Let me be very, very clear. I'm going to digress slightly here to make all of this make sense. The only governments backing Donald Trump's extrajudicial actions are hard right governments in Latin America. Are hard right, right-wing governments in Latin America. So, Ecuador, President Daniel Noboa, I believe his name is, who is negotiating for a U.S. military base on Ecuadorian soil. A huge Donald Trump fan, a huge Donald Trump supporter. Argentina, President Javier Milei, I believe, who openly calls Trump his ideological ally, his ideological twin. Outside of these right-wing regimes, most of the Caribbean and Latin America have condemned US militarism and warned against its illegality. So, I want you to ask yourself, why is Trinidad and Tobago a nation that prides itself on neutrality? Historically, we've prided ourselves on neutrality and balance, now standing in the same camp as Donald Trump, Noboa, and Milei. The same camp as America, Ecuador, and Argentina. The same right-wing, far-right camp as those countries I've mentioned. Now, Trinidad and Tobago, this is not just symbolic. This has real-life consequences. Number one, diplomatic isolation is likely to come our way by skipping summits and siding with Washington, siding with America, siding with Donald Trump. We weaken our ties with CARICOM and Africa whilst missing out on trade, potentially missing out on trade, missing out on cultural development, missing out on investment and opportunities. Missing out on the opportunity to diversify our economy. Number two, geopolitical risk. Aligning with Donald Trump, militarism puts us on a collision course with Venezuela, our geographical neighbor, our potential future energy partner, and our gateway to potential regional stability. Remember, Venezuela has more oil than any other country on the planet. Number three, erosion of sovereignty. Welcoming US military intervention in Caribbean waters risk turning us into a pawn in someone else's war. Number four, right-wing pivot. Trinidad and Tobago is drifting ideologically towards the far right under this government, away from regional solidarity and into the orbit of Trumpism, an ideology in the US that is openly hostile to black people and minorities. So what does this mean for us? The Africa-Caricom Summit, was about more than politics. It was about more than politics. This is about history. This is about identity. This is about economic survival in a fast-changing world. Whilst others were reconnecting with Africa, whilst our Caribbean brothers and sisters were reconnecting with Africa, building new supply chains, talking about technology, education, food security, diversifying our economy, our Prime Minister was absent. Our Prime Minister decided this is not for her. Instead, she's choosing to tie Trinidad and Tobago's foreign policy to Donald Trump, shoot first, ask question later. This is not great for us, Trinidad and Tobago. This is not a good look for Trinidad and Tobago. Despite what we say about Venezuela, whether we like them or not, they are our geographical partner. This is not leadership that we're seeing in Trinidad right now. This is not leadership that we are seeing in Trinidad and Tobago right now. So, in closing, I want to say this. The Caribbean must decide, do we stand together with CARICOM and Africa, shaping our destiny and diversifying our economies? Trinidad must decide. Or do we play second fiddle? Do we play second fiddle to Washington's right-wing war agenda? To Washington's game? At the cost of our sovereignty, at the cost of our security, and even at the cost of our identity. Because right now, 10 viewers, the direction of Trinidad and Tobago is clear, and it should disturb every single one of us. And that's it. That's my take on what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago right now. We must wake up. Like, subscribe, let me know what you think, comment, let me know your thoughts. I read just about everyone who comment, or I try to at the very least. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys on my next video. For now, much love, God bless, look after each other, take care, peace.